Still forgot.
Ahala's story. Brahma once created out of the ingredients of absolute beauty a woman, and she was called Ahalya, which in Sanskrit language means non-imperfection. God Indra, being the highest god amongst the gods, was attracted by her beauty and was convinced that he alone was worthy of claiming her hand. Brahma, noticing the conceit and presumptuous of Indra, ignored him, sought out sage Gautama, and left him in charge of the girl. She grew up in his custody, and when the time came, the sage took her back to Brahma and handed her over to him. Brahma appreciated Gautama's purity of mind and heart. Never once had any camel thought crossed his mind, and said, "Marry her, she is fit to be your wife, or rather, you alone deserve to be her husband." Accordingly, she was married, blessed by Brahma and the other gods, having spent her childhood with Gautama. Ahalya knew his needs and so proved a perfect wife, and they lived happily. Indra, however, never got over his infatuation for Ahalya and often came in different guises near to Gautama's ashram, waiting for every chance to gaze and feast on Ahalya's form and figure. He also watched the habits of the sage and noticed that the sage left his ashram at dawn of each day as and was away for a couple hours at the river for his baths and prayers. Unable to bear the pangs of love anymore, Indra decided to obtain the woman of his heart by subterfuge. One day, hardly able to wait for the sage to leave at his usual hour, Indra assumed the voice of a rooster and woke up the sage, who, thinking that the morning had come, left the river. Now Indra assumed the sage's form, entered the hut, and made love to Ahalya. She surrendered herself, but at some stage realized that the man enjoying her was an impostor, but she could do nothing about it. Gautama came back at this moment, having intuitively felt that something was wrong, and surprised the couple in bed. Ahalya stood aside, filled with shame and remorse. Indra assumed the form of a cat, the most facile animal form for sneaking in or out, and tried to slip away. The sage looked from the cat to the woman and was not to be deceived. He arrested the cat where he was with these words, "Cat, I know you. Your possession with the female is your undoing. May your body be covered with 1,000 female marks, so that in all worlds people may understand what really goes on in your mind all the time." Hardly had these words left his lips when every inch of Indra's body displayed the female organ. There could be no greater shame for the proud and self-peering Indra. After Indra slunk away back to his world, Gautama looked at his wife and said, "You have sinned with your body. May that body harden into a shapeless piece of granite just where you are." Now, in desperation, Ahalya implored, "A grave mistake has been committed. It is the nature of noble souls to forgive the errors of lesser beings. Please, I am already feeling a weight creeping on my feet. Do something. Please help me." Now the sage felt sorry for her and said, "Your redemption will come when the son of Darsharat Rama passed this way at some future date." "When? Where?" she essayed to question desperately, but before the words could leave her lips, she had become a piece of stone. Indra's predicament became a joke in all the worlds at first, but later proved noticeably tragic. He stayed in darkness and seclusion and could never appear before man or woman. This caused much concern to all gods, and his multifarious duties in various wars remained suspended, and they went in a body to Brahma and requested him to intercede with Gautama. By this time, the sage's resentment had vanished. He had said in response to Brahma's appeal, "May the thousand additions to Indra's features become eyes." Indra thereafter came to be known as Thousand-Eyed God. Vishwamitra concluded the story and addressed Rama. "O great one, you are born to restore righteousness with the virtue to mankind and eliminate all evil. At our yagna, I saw the power of your arms and see, and now I see the greatness of the touch of your feet." Rama said to Ahaya, "May you seek and join your revered husband and live in his service again. Let your heart be burdened with what is past and gone." On their way to Mithila, they stopped to rest at Gautama's hermitage, and Vishwamitra told the sage, "Your wife is restored to her normal form by the touch of Rama's feet. Go and take her back. Her heart is purified through the ordeal she has undergone." All this accomplished, they moved on, leaving behind the scented groves and the forest, and approached the battlemented gates of Mithila city. The wedding. Mithila, after all the forest, mountain paths, valleys, and places of solitude and silence through which we have traveled thus far, offers a pleasant change to a city of color and pleasure, with people enjoying the business of lying. The very minute Rama steps to Mithila, he notices golden turrets and domes and towers and colorful flags fluttering in the wind, as if to welcome a wedding royal bridegroom to be. The streets glitter with odds and ends of jewelry cast off by the people, a necklace that has snapped during a dance or a game, or has been flung off when found to be a nuisance during an embrace, with no one inclined to pick them up in a society of such influence. There was no charity in Kushala country, since there was no one to receive it. Torn off flower garlands lays in heaps on the roadside with honeybees swarming over them. The musk running down the hunches of mountainous elephants flowed in dark streams along the main through thoroughfare, blending with white froth dripping from the mouths of galloping horses and churned with mud and the dust by ever-churning chariot wheels. On lofty terraces, women were singing and dancing to the accompaniment of vina and soft drums. Couples on the swings surrendered from tall arcia poles enjoyed the delight of swaying back and forth, their necklaces or garlands flying in the air. Rama and Lakshmana went on past shops displaying gems, gold, ivory, peacock feathers, beds, and wigs made of hair of the rare Himalayan deer. They observed arenas where strange elephant fights were in progress, cheered by crowds of young men Groups of women practicing ballads and love song under wayside canopies, horses galloping without a break ground and round bridle tracks, watched by elegant men and women swimming pools with colored fish, agitated by people sporting in the water. They crossed the moat surrounding Jamaka's palace, with its golden spires soaring above the other buildings of the city. Now Rama observed over the balcony Princess Sita playing with her companion. She stood arrested by her beauty, and she noticed him at the same moment. Their eyes met. They had been together not so long ago in Vaikuntha, their original home in heaven, and Vishnu and his spouse Lakshmi, but in their present incarnation, suffering all limitations of mortals, they looked at each other as strangers. Sita, decked in ornaments and flowers, in the midst of her attendants, flashed on his eyes like a streak of lightning. She paused to watch Rama slowly pass out of view, along with his sage master and brother. The moment that he vanished, her mind became uncontrollably agitated. The eye had emitted a slender shaft of love, which later expanded and spread into her whole being. She felt ill. Observing the sudden change in her and the sudden drooping and withering of her whole being, even the bangles on her wrists slipping down, her attendants took her away and spread a soft bed for her to lie on. She lay tossing in her bed, complaining, "You girls have forgotten to make a soft bed. You are all out to tease me." Her maids in attendance had never seen her in such a mood. They were bewildered and amused at first, but later became genuinely concerned. When they noticed tears streaming down her cheeks, they found her prattling involuntarily. Shoulders of emerald, eyes like lotus petals. Who is he? He invaded my heart and has deprived me of all shame. A robber who could ensnare my heart and snatch away my peace of mind. Broad-shouldered, but walked off so swiftly. Why could he not have halted his steps so that it might have gained one more glimpse and quelled his riotous heart of mine? He was here, he was there next second, and gone forever. He could not be God. His eyelids flickered, or he was a sorcerer casting a spell on people. The sun set beyond the sea, so says the poet. And when the poet mentions the sea, we have to accept it. No harm in letting a poet describe his vision, no need to question his geography. The cry of birds settling down for night and the sound of waves on the seashore became clearer as the evening advanced into dusk and night. A cool breeze blew from sea, but none of it confronted Sita. This hour sharpened the agony of love and agitated her heart with hopeless longings. A rare bird known as Anril somewhere called its mate. Normally at this hour, Shita would have listened for a melodious warbling, but today its voice sounded harsh and odious. Sita implored, "O bird, wherever you may be, please be quiet. You are bent upon mischief, annoying me with cries and lamentations. The sins I committed in the previous birth have assumed due form and come to torture me now. The full moon rose from the sea, flooded the earth with a soft light, and the sight of it she covered her eyes with her palms. She left all the elements were alien to her mood and combining to aggravate her suffering. Her maids noticed her distress and feared that some deep-rooted ailment had suddenly seized her. They lit cool lamps whose wicks were fed with clarified butter, but found that even such a flame proved intolerable to her. And they extinguished the lamps and in their space kept luminous gems which laminated soft light. They made her soft bed on a slab of moonstone with layers of soft petals, but the flowers wilted. Sita writhed and groaned and complained of everything, the night stars, moonlight, and flowers, the whole universe of unsympathetic elements. The question went on drumming in her mind. Who is she? Where is he gone? Flashing into view and gone again. Or am I subject of hallucination? It could not be. A mere hallucination cannot weaken one so much. At the guest house, Rama retired for the night. In the seclusion of his bedroom, he began to brood over the girl he noticed over at the palace balcony. For him, too, the moon seemed to emphasize his sense of loneliness, although he had exhibited no sign of it. Deeply within, he felt a disturbance. His innate sense of discipline and preparatory had made him conceal his feelings before other people. Now he kept thinking of a girl on a balcony and longed for another side of her. Who could she be? Nothing to indicate that she was a princess could be anyone among the hundreds of girls at the palace. She could be not married. Rama realized that if she were married, he would instinctively have recoiled from her. Now he caught himself contemplating her in every detail. He fancied that she was standing before him and longed to enclose those breasts in his embrace. He said to himself, even if I cannot take her in my arms, shall I ever get another glimpse, however briefly, of the radiant face of those lips, eyes, lips, those curly locks falling on her forehead, every item of those features seemingly poised to attack and quell on me, on whose bow depended the destruction of demons, now at the mercy of one who wields only a bow of sugarcane and uses flowers for arrows. He smiles at the irony of it. The night spent itself. He had little sleep. The moon set and the dawn came. Rama found that it was the time to arise and prepare himself to accompany his master to the ceremony at Janaka's palace. At the assembly hall, King Janaka noticed Rama and Lakshmana and asked Vishwamitra, "Who are those attractive young men?" Vishwamitra explained. When he heard of Rama's lineage and prowess, Janaka said with a sigh, "How I wish it were possible for me to prose my daughter for him." Vishwamitra understood the cause of his despair. A seemingly insurmountable condition existed in any proposal concerning Sita's marriage. I guess we'll stop. It's 8:00. Or is there not much left?
No, we can stop. That's good.
Okay, first Indra's Indra's what was that? Covered in vaginas. What was that? What a punishment.
Yes.
I think the whole narrative of like Sita and Ram falling in love is so sweet.
Yeah.
They definitely capture the feeling.
Yeah.
Oh boy. Michelle led your class last night. It was good.
Oh, yeah? Yeah, I love Michelle.
Did planking in your honor.
Oh, that's good. All right, so we'll do some breath work. It's so weird to see the house from this side.
Oh, like through your own house through your camera. Funny.
Yeah.
It looks cool.
Yeah, it's beautiful here.
It's a nice house, yeah. Amanda was telling Isabella that she was going to my house, so when they got there, she couldn't find me.
She was
Yeah,
looking
she was so upset. She was so upset. Pam, stop the recording. She was like running around going, this is